You don't like my hat? Believe it or not, this is another layer of immersion for me for sim racing. And I'll get into that in just a second. But the point of this video is actually to give you an update on some of the newer gear that I actually have added to my sim rig since the last time I shared with you, which was, believe it or not, about a year ago. So I'm Chris from AutoAcademics, and this is just a brief update of my sim rig. So, to start off, yeah, this hat, it is, the hat is nothing. The hat's just an old hat. But what's important is what's on the hat, which is those reflectors there. And they are part of a system called TrackIR, which allows that to replicate the camera movements inside of the car. So basically, when I turn my head, then the camera movements move as well. So instead of using the joystick to adjust your camera movements, the game automatically does it, or the simulation automatically does it based on the reflectors that are on the hat. And they connect with an IR blaster that I have on top of the TV. And that's what allows it to see where I move my head so that it'll adjust the camera accordingly. So then when I look into the corners, or I look into my mirrors, or just look out the side view mirror, I can see exactly where a car is, and it just adds a little more immersion to the effect. So that's one of the things that I actually use. Something else that I wanted to share with you guys that I got. As you know, I have the Fanatic system, and Fanatic every year has a Black Friday sale. And so this past year, during their sale, they had some steering wheels on sale. And so I was able to add the F1 carbon wheel. I'm not sure if that's exactly the name of it, something like that. I don't know if that's the exact order of the terms, but it is the F1 or an F1 wheel, carbon. It's got a carbon face plate to it, and again, like the other wheels, nice quality, and it works well. Just adds to the immersion. So when I'm driving my GT3 cars or open wheel cars, now I've got more of an open wheel type of wheel as opposed to the round steering wheel. Something else that I added that you can see right here is I took an old iPad mini that we had laying around that wasn't being used for anything else. I mean, this is literally a first gen iPad mini, so oh my gosh, it's probably close to 10 years old. And, it didn't have much memory left in it, and the processor was old and everything. So basically, we've upgraded since then. So this tablet wasn't doing anything. So I grabbed it, and I use it as a display for my sim racing. Again, additional immersion. I use a program called SimHub. Sorry about that. And SimHub allows you to, it works with a bunch of different games, and it allows you to customize different screens so that you can get different information on them. I mean, everything from tire wear, you can do tire temperature, it shows you your laps, it shows you what your position you're in, your gear selection, it gives you your rev meters, it also gives you the lights for, it can give you the lights for different caution flags and things like that. Basically, they have some pre-made screens or displays that you can use, or you can create your own. I haven't been clever enough to create my own yet, so I've been using some of the pre-made ones that are on there, but they work pretty well, and they're pretty nice. And literally, it's pretty simple. All the instructions are on SimHub, but it's pretty simple to get it all hooked up, and then when you start the program SimHub, it all connects with the game. Now, there are only certain games that it works with, but there are quite a few games that it works with. You see me scrolling through there. There are quite a few different games. Everything from sim racing games to there are even some flight games on here and stuff like that. So it works with all sorts of different things that use that might use a display. It also works with my butt kicker, as I told you guys about in my last video, my last vlog. So that's how I set up all the parameters for the butt kicker, and you know, decide how much vibration I want and what I want the vibration to represent in the car. So SimHub, it's nice. There's a free version as well as a paid version. So you know, the free version gives you a lot of features, but then the paid version gives you a few extra features. So you know, you can decide on which one you'd like to use. And you know, they work with all types of different programs, though. American Truck Simulator, Assetto Corsa Competizione, Automobilista 2. Pretty much all of the mainstream games are available on SimHub and will work with displays and butt kickers and things like that. To hold the display on my screen, I actually found this little display holder on, I believe it was on Etsy, and a guy was making. I can put his information in the in the details or what have you below. But a guy was screen printing these, and or screen, is that the word for it? Screen printing, he was designing them using the plastic stuff. I don't know why my mind is totally blanking right now on what it's called. 3D printing. He was 3D printing these, and it's made to connect directly to a Fanatic DD1. I believe he has different types of wheelbases that he'll make them for. But it connects right on there, bolts right on, and then you can connect a tablet. He also has an adapter for a cell phone as well, which is a little bit smaller if you want to use a cell phone instead of a tablet. And that's how I hold it on there. That's how I have it mounted to my wheelbase. Now, it does block the screen of my Fanatic wheelbase. So, you know, give a little, get a little with that sort of thing. But I do like the display. Again, it adds some extra immersion, so that's why I use it. Looks cool. Something else that I got to add immersion is a button box. That's what this cool looking thing over here is. And again, with sim racing, there are all sorts of things that you can program with your cars, with your airplanes, with your trucks, whatever it is that you are simulating. Just like in a real vehicle, you've got all kinds of switches and knobs and things like that to control things. So a button box allows you to have a little extra immersion, a little extra detail or simulation of that stuff as well. This particular one I got from a company called Simracing4u, and again, guy makes these boxes from scratch, I assume. There are a whole bunch of different types that can be made, and mind you guys, none of this stuff is sponsored. Absolutely zero. I paid for all this stuff, so you know that's why I can give you some pros and cons with it or what have you. But you know, this was something I purchased because, again, they look cool. I've seen a lot of sim racers with these things. And the more you get into it, the more you start having extra details that you want to do during your sim experience. So my particular button box, I have it set up so that you have an ignition switch. You have, this one is air brakes for when I'm doing my truck simulating. You got a starter button there. And then you have some other toggle switches up here at the top, which can toggle up and down. And this first one I have set up for lights. The next one is for wipers. And then this last one I actually have it set up for the multiple gears for my for when I'm doing American Truck Simulator. You can flash your lights. You got your hazards. I've got the air brake or the engine brake for when I'm doing my truck simulating, and as well as horns and things like that. Plus, with the race cars, again, you can set up your traction control settings to add a little extra traction control, a little less, as well as your brake bias, if you want to do more front brake bias versus rear brake bias. It literally gets that detailed with these simulators. So a button box like this helps to bring that detail into the game. just as if you were in a real race car. Yes, there are buttons on the steering wheel as well, but I kind of like to keep my steering wheel nice and neat, so I didn't want to put stickers on them and everything. And before I got the button box, I did use these buttons to control a lot of that stuff, but each wheel has a different button layout. And so if I, there would be a lot of times since I didn't want to put the stickers on the wheel, I wouldn't remember exactly what button did what. So it would get confusing when I'd switch wheels. So now that I have the button box, it's always the same for every single game, no matter what car I'm driving, it'll all work based off of that button box. Now I mounted that using this arm here, and this is an arm that came from Sim-Lab, the company that made my chassis here, my rig. They actually make this button box adapter or button box mount, and so it just bolts right up onto the wheelbase uprights, and it can be adjusted. You know, you can kind of adjust it, the angle to your liking, and the button box just mounts right on there using the brackets. So all of the brackets and everything, the mounts came together from Sim-Lab, and then the button box came ready to go, and it's just a USB plug that plugs right into your computer. Now, all of this stuff plugs in via USB. The tablet does, the button box, the shifters, all this stuff connects through USB. And while computers today have a lot of USB ports, they don't have this many USB ports. So that meant I had to get a USB adapter, which I have mounted here behind this crossbar. And it allows me, for all these peripherals that are up here in the driving cockpit, I can just plug right into that USB adapter, and then just have the one USB adapter then go into my computer over there. So it keeps things a little more simplified. I was able to clean up some of my wiring from the last time you guys saw my rig, and just helps to make things a little bit neater. So I think that is it for the updates since the last time I shared this with you. Again, it's all just to add to the immersion, just to keep things interesting and fun for me. I did use this sim racing as part of my rehabilitation. Not early on, because I couldn't do anything early on, but during my rehabilitation with my rotator cuff surgery, or after the surgery, my physical therapist, you know, as we're talking and he's learning about what I do for a living, he knew that was one of the challenges that I had to overcome so I could get back to work, which was driving. And so this ended up being a safe way for me to get back into driving again. Now, obviously, I didn't get into full-fledged racing when I first started, because one of the challenges I had was this type of movement, you know, a steering movement where you cross your arm over, and that was very difficult. My shoulder did not want to do that initially. So I started off nice and easy, and that was where I kind of got into my American Truck Simulator. You know, I put on my trucker's hat, and and it was nice slow driving, you know, nice slow cruising. And then after a couple weeks of doing that, things got a little bit better, and the shoulder continued to improve and loosen up. And then that was when I was ready to try the sim racing again. And so I've been back sim racing about a week, maybe a week and a half now, and it's been fantastic. I forgot about the joy that I had for it because I hadn't done it the entire summer. So yeah, that's it. I think that's all. I'm gonna keep this one kind of brief. Just wanted to share an update with you, give you a little bit while I'm still getting the real car stuff together, you know, before I present my my most current reviews and things like that with you guys. I figured I'd go ahead and show you what I was doing in the meantime, some of the driving that I was doing, and how I was able to start getting myself back into shape of regular real life driving. So hope you guys enjoyed this one. If you think sim racing is cool, or if you think you might want to even get involved with sim racing, go ahead, hit that thumbs up button, and you know, helps the channel out, and it also let me know that you guys are still finding interest in all of this stuff. I know I'm not posting about this stuff quite as often as I had hoped to, but again, as long as there is interest, then I'll keep trying to put more and more of this hobby side of driving into my repertoire of videos for you guys as well. So go ahead and give it a thumbs up if you liked it. By all means, subscribe if you haven't done so already. And hit that bell icon so you don't miss what we have coming up next. I'm Chris from AutoAcademics. Thanks for watching.